Happy Saturday. Welcome to Mission Unstoppable Girl Squad. I'm Madeline Nonno, CEO of the Institute, and I'd like to introduce our two amazing ASL interpreters, Andrea Lust and Sharon Pierre-Louis, who will be with us today. And if you want to see them, please make sure that your Zoom setting is pinned to gallery view. We are so excited about season 2, and we're so excited to kick that off. And we're very, very proud and giant thanks to our partners, Lyda Philanthropies, Lytton Entertainment, and the wonderful If Then initiative. So one thing, as you have questions, please remember to put them in the Q&A, because we will do Q&A later on. And to kick us off, I would love to welcome founder and chair and executive producer of Mission Unstoppable, Geena Davis.
Hey, hello, everybody. I'm very, very excited to be with all of you today. Thank you for being here. I'm so thrilled to celebrate season 2 of Mission Unstoppable. And as you know, my institute has conducted numerous studies over the years that show that diverse and high quality portrayals of women and girls are quite simply missing from a lot of children's media. And this has a real impact on young viewers' ideas of themselves and on the occupations that they can pursue when they're adults. And it's very apparent in the STEM fields, where only a quarter of scientists and engineers in the United States are female. And we know that media plays a contributing role. For example, STEM characters were rarely featured in leading roles, but when they were, male STEM characters were more likely than female STEM characters to be leads. And a majority of women STEM characters were shown working in life sciences, but male STEM characters were more likely than women characters to be shown as engineers, as physical scientists, and in computer operations. When girls in their formative years don't see female characters on screen as biochemists, software developers, or engineers, they're less likely to imagine or pursue those career paths for themselves. However, when girls do see women in STEM media, it has a significant impact. And that's why shows like Mission Unstoppable are so important. Increasing media depictions of women in STEM is easy to do and provides a big bang for the buck. As our tagline says, if she can see it, she can be it. Again, thank you for joining us today. Get ready to meet some amazing women working in STEM.
Thank you so much, Geena. And now I would love to welcome the one and only Nicole Small, CEO of Lyda Philanthropies and founder of the If Then initiative. Take it away, Nicole.
Thanks, Madeline. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Did you all know that women constitute more than half of the college-educated workforce in the US, but hold less than 1/3 of jobs in STEM? Science has never been more important than it is today, whether it's COVID, cancer, or climate change. We know we've got a lot of problems in this world to fix, and you guys are the ones that are going to go out and help us fix them. And did you know there's so many fun jobs in STEM that can help change the world? This is why we created the If Then initiative and developed Mission Unstoppable. As a mom of 2 girls, I know firsthand what your world looks like and what you experience every day. Your future is bright. Every week, you can watch Mission Unstoppable to learn more about the awesome STEM careers, and you too can see the many ways that you can change the world. Be sure to watch the show on Saturday mornings on CBS or online at CBS All Access. Also, if you want to learn more, you can go online to www.theifThenCollection.org to learn more about women in STEM and the many cool job opportunities in the world. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And now I'm super excited to introduce our next guest. You may know her as Carly Shay from the hit TV series iCarly. Please welcome executive producer and host of Mission Unstoppable, Miranda Cosgrove. Take it away.
Thanks so much for that awesome introduction. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. I'm just so proud to be a part of this show because it really gives me the opportunity to connect with young women and introduce you to the different job opportunities in STEM. Every week on the show, I get to meet some of the coolest women in STEM. I love hearing their inspiring stories and learning about the unique paths that each has taken to make their STEM dreams a reality. There are incredible job opportunities for women in STEM that girls just don't really know about. Jobs like zoologists, engineers, astronauts, code breakers, and oceanographers. That's just to name a few. STEM careers can change the world, and they're not just for boys. There are lots of interesting ways that young girls can make an impact. By showcasing these female STEM superstars on Mission Unstoppable, we hope to teach you all about STEM careers and inspire you to follow these trailblazing women role models. You're the next generation of explorers and changemakers. So now, let's take a look at a clip of Mission Unstoppable.
Hi, I'm Miranda Cosgrove, and this is Mission Unstoppable. I'd like you to meet somebody special. This is Nao.
Hello, Nao. Nice to meet you.
So studying an environment like this can teach us about life on Mars?
Absolutely. Big, what are you doing? I'm about to do makeup and physics at the same time dance.
Okay. Get ready to meet the scientists, inventors, and heroes who help make our world a better place. The future is here. The Mission Unstoppable.
This season, one of the things we are super excited about is to have a new correspondent named Fig O'Reilly on the show. Fig is former Miss Universe Ireland and a real NASA Datanaut. Her interest in STEM stretches back to her childhood when her favorite subjects in school were math and science. Though she initially thought she'd become a paleontologist, she was captivated by engineering after spending a summer in the Summer Math and Science Honors Academy at UC Berkeley. Here's a clip of Fig O'Reilly on Mission Unstoppable.
Looking good is an art, but today it's also a science. Thanks to some insight from physicist Jessica Esquivel. Take a look.
Oh, I'm just checking the optics of my makeup. I have to tell you, I'm not really sure what that means, but our next guest, Dr. Jessica Esquivel, who is a particle physicist, is going to teach me all about the physics behind makeup. Today, Jessica's going to show me how light particles can interact with the building blocks of makeup to create really cool effects.
Why don't you put a little bit of pigment on the back of your hand, and I'll do the same.
I think I'm gonna try this blue.
Do you see how shiny that is?
This is awesome.
So it's because of a mineral called mica, and what cosmetic scientists do is grind this up into a fine powder, add a little bit of pigment to it, and you get this really amazing, shiny, shimmery powder that we're seeing right here.
Wow, that is so interesting.
So mica is birefringent. You can send unpolarized light, so light that goes up, down, left, and right, through mica, and what comes out of it is actually light that's split in two.
Birefringent? Huh? It's a scientific term for something that separates one ray of light into two rays of light that travel at different speeds.
Thanks, Miranda. I'm so excited to be a part of this awesome show that allows me to share my enthusiasm for STEM every week. I love the work that I do, especially seeing all the positive responses from the many girls like you that I can connect with. I want girls to know that they can have a variety of interests. You can like sparkles and glamour and also like science or engineering. You don't have to fit a stereotype. Mission Unstoppable embodies everything that I have worked toward and hope to achieve. Mission Unstoppable shows what women in STEM jobs really look like. I hope you guys will all tune in and check it out.
Thanks so much, Fig. We're so excited to have you on the show. And we actually have another series regular here today. 18-year-old Jackie Means, also known as the STEM Queen. Jackie is the founder of Wilmington Urban STEM Initiative, an innovative education program where she leads girl empowerment STEM events. During the events, she demonstrates DIY science experiments and hosts guest speakers. Jackie hopes to empower girls in her community and increase their interest in STEM professions and let them know that there are no boundaries to their success. She's been featured on so many national television shows, including Steve Harvey, The Today Show, Dr. Oz, Access Hollywood, and many others. Here's a clip of Jackie on Mission Unstoppable.
No elephants were harmed in this next segment. Actually, no elephants were harmed in any of our segments. We love elephants. And I hope they enjoy our next story about elephant toothpaste.
Hi everyone! Today I'm going to make an exothermic reaction using H2O2 and Saccharomyces cerevisiae. That's right, I'm making elephant toothpaste.
This experiment creates a frothy reaction that kind of looks like toothpaste leaving the tube.
Hi everyone! I am so excited to be here today. I'm super happy that you guys are all here, and I'm beyond happy that I get to do this super fun DIY experiment with you guys. So I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to be on Mission Unstoppable. My main goal is to encourage young people like yourselves to not just get good grades, but also, have confidence and be empowered to do and try all kinds of things, and especially consider going into a STEM career. So now that you guys have seen the clip, let's get into the experiment. I hope you guys have all your materials ready. You'll need, of course, some gloves to protect your hands, goggles to protect your eyes, some food dye, a little bit of dish soap, a water bottle, and a tray to catch all of our kind of mess that we're gonna make. You can use either 40V or 20V clear hair developer, or you can use 3% hydrogen peroxide, and then just some active dry yeast. So let's get right into it. So first, I'm going to take a half cup of my 40V hair developer and pour it into my bottle. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, what in the world, how does this work? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and explain it. So the main ingredient, which I'm gonna pour in a little bit, is our yeast, and that is our catalyst. Now, if you don't know what a catalyst is kind of the thing that makes everything go boom or blow up or have that big cool reaction happen. So our yeast is going to decompose all of the ingredients I'm going to pour in before it and speed up the reaction and make it happen really fast. So I'm gonna stop talking and keep pouring our stuff in. So I'm gonna do a few drops of dish soap, and this is what will give it that kind of frothy, bubbly look to it. It's our dish soap that does that. And then I'm gonna pour in a few drops of food dye. I'm using purple today because it's such a cute color. Like that. And then swish it up so it's well mixed, just like that. And now, this is the main stuff. So I'm gonna put my goggles on to protect my eyes. So I'm gonna take a little bit of warm water. And I noticed I said warm and not hot. I'm using warm because if I were to use hot water, remember I said we have active dry yeast. Now, if the water was too hot, it would kill the active agents in our yeast and our reaction wouldn't work. So I'm just using warm water. And then I'm gonna take a small spoon, get a little bit of yeast on it, and put it into my warm water, and then mix it up like that. I'm gonna add a little more yeast because I want the reaction to happen really fast. And then you just keep mixing it until it gets into like a milky consistency, kind of like that. Going over the side of it. Okay. And now I'm gonna take it and pour it into my mixture. And you have DIY elephant toothpaste. You can already see it's bubbling up and foaming. It's gonna start coming out the top in just a second. Look at that lavender color, it's so pretty. But yeah, you guys can see the bubbles from our soap, our food dye in there, and then boom, right at the top. And we've got elephant toothpaste. Super fun, super easy DIY experiment.
That was so cool, Jackie. Thank you so much for doing the experiment for all of us. Love the color. Now it's time to hear from all of you. So please submit your questions using the Q&A feature. It's just at the bottom of your screen. And now it's actually time to meet all of our panelists. First off, we're going to start off with Nicole Small. She's the CEO of Lyda Philanthropies and co-founder of the If Then Initiative. Then we have Madeline Nonno, CEO of the Geena Davis Institute of Gender and Media and EP of Mission Unstoppable. Then we have my friend, Anna Wenger, showrunner and executive producer of Mission Unstoppable. Fig O'Reilly, our new correspondent. Jackie Means, the STEM queen. And Jessica Escovel, particle physicist and AAAS IFTHN ambassador. Okay, I think I'm actually going to kick off the Q&A by asking a couple questions. So please continue to send them in via the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, but let's jump right in. Our first question is for you, Jackie. What made you get interested in teaching STEM?
That's a great question. So I've always been interested in science. And one thing that kind of made me say, you know what, I want to teach it was I love to do experiments at home, whether it was just getting baking soda and vinegar from the kitchen and pouring it all over in the sink and blowing it up or making a huge mess. I just knew that this stuff, I didn't know what to call it because I think I was 8 or 9, but I said, this stuff is awesome. And I would go to school and I would try to tell my friends, I'd be like, hey, Jenny, come here, listen to this thing I did last night. And she looked at me like I had 6 eyes. And I was like, why aren't you as interested as I am? And as I got older, I saw that that was a common theme through what I would talk to my friends and just kind of try to tell people that I love science and I love STEM. I saw that they weren't as enthused about it as I was. And I was like, you know what? I want to flip this script and make it so when I bring up science and when I bring up STEM, they'll be just as excited as I am about it. They'll be just as excited as me. That was kind of my reason as to why I wanted to teach it. And I want other people, as many people as possible, to be excited about STEM and know that it's a career that they can have.
Well, I definitely think you're doing a great job making that happen. The next question is to Fig. What made you want to pursue engineering?
Well, that's a good question. I was a curious kid, and I think I always liked to find out how things worked. And I wanted to be able to also create things. And so when I was looking up things to study for college, I knew that I wanted to look into engineering because there's so many different types of engineering. And essentially you are a creator, you get to make things. So you get to use your imagination, you get to use some really cool skills to build things for the future. And I think that was really interesting to me. And so when I kind of did my research and I figured out the different kinds of engineering, I found systems engineering, which is a newer type of engineering that ultimately is all about optimization, and it's about making things work in the best way possible. So I really am glad that I became an engineer because I think I can apply it to so many different industries, which makes it really cool and really useful. It can be confusing trying to figure out, what do you want to do? But I think a background in STEM in general can help you apply to so many different things, which is so great.
Okay, I think now we're going to welcome Lisa on to help ask some of the questions that we've been receiving from all of you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Miranda, for introducing me. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're enjoying this event as much as I am. We're going to kick it off with some more questions from our audience. So let's start with one for Jackie. We want to know, why did you create your Wilmington STEM initiative?
Yeah, so it kind of coincides with my earlier answer. And it's just because I noticed that people were not as excited about science, tech, engineering, and math as I was. And I found that crazy. I'm sitting here doing awesome experiments, finding out all these new things that I'm so fascinated with. And they're thinking, oh my gosh, that's so boring. I hate that. I don't want to do that. And I just thought they were crazy. And I said, you know what? I really want to change that because I want to go into STEM. And I don't have many role models in STEM. And I'm thinking, you know what? If I can have this next generation of girls become those role models for other girls, those future generations will be more likely to go into STEM careers. Being not just a woman, but a woman of color, I want to see more people, that look like me, who are women of color, be in the STEM field. Because I think that I know we have a lot to say, and we belong in that field. We just have to kind of be the trailblazers and open up those doors for the ones who come after us.
Such a great answer, and you're doing such a great job at inspiring people. And speaking of inspiration, this one is for Fig. Were there any characters you saw growing up that may have influenced you to pursue STEM? So any like specific role models or yeah.
That's hard. Actually, there weren't a lot of people that I felt that I could identify with. I'm 27, just to be clear. So when I was younger, I was watching like Bill Nye maybe on television. But I mean, like I don't have a lot in common with Bill Nye, to be honest, you know? So there weren't a lot of people that I guess I could personally connect with. And so that also was one thing that I think that drove me to want to pursue something that not a lot of people that look like me or had interest in the same way as I did. I think it drove me to want to pursue a career in STEM. And, you know, simultaneously, you do think hopefully that I can open up a door behind me for other girls that have varying interests. I do like, I love beauty, I love makeup, I love glam. And I think Miranda mentioned I'm a former Miss Universe Ireland. I love, you know, a wide variety of different things. And so I never wanted to be pigeonholed to just one thing. And I think it's changing. I think that you can do anything that it is that you want. And I'm so glad that we have shows like this that are showing so many different amazing women in STEM. You guys saw the clip that I had with Jessica, who's here in this chat, and we had such a fun time learning about the physics behind makeup. And those aren't two things that you often hear together, but it's relevant, it's real, and you know, it is science. So, I mean, I didn't grow up with a lot of people that I was looking at as a role model. So I'm hoping now that in turn, now that I have this opportunity to work on this show with all these amazing women, that maybe there are other young girls that see us on this show and say, wow, if they're doing that, maybe that's something I could consider for myself.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. You know, seeing it is being it, which we always say. If they see it, then they can be it. That's totally our thing. Thank you so much for that answer. Moving over to Miranda, this question is: what is it like to be the host of such an empowering, inspiring show? You yourself are both of those things.
It's so much fun to get to be a part of this show. It's funny because when I first heard the idea before we started the first season, I knew right away it was something I wanted to be a part of, but I didn't realize that I was going to even be inspired by all the women that are on it. Like every week, just getting to learn about all these different women and all the amazing things they do. It really makes me want to like try new things, even though I'm 27. Like it just excites me, and I'm really proud to get to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And we are so proud of Mission Unstoppable as well, which is produced by Lytton Entertainment and the If Then initiative. So this one is for Madeline. Nicole, what made you want to be involved with a show like Mission Unstoppable, and what do you hope the show accomplishes?
Nicole, why don't you take the first part of that?
Okay. Well, thanks, Lisa. I mean, first of all, Fig and Jackie, you guys are awesome. Jessica, we're so happy to have you here. I mean, we got really excited about creating a show like this because, as Jackie said, we kind of want to flip the script, right? Like, I love that. It's about, we wanted to meet girls where they were and show them that STEM isn't everything we do, that for so long, as you've heard from Fig and Jackie and a lot of people talk about, people thought, oh, STEM careers are over there, and that's, you know, a white guy in a white lab coat, you know, working alone all day. And for those of us who've been involved in STEM for a long time, we know that some of the coolest jobs in the world are STEM jobs. And we really want to share that with people, and particularly girls. And like I said earlier, you know, I've got two of my own little girls, and I've kind of seen what they grow up with and what they're looking at every day. And we knew we had an opportunity to really show girls that every single person watching this has an opportunity to change the world. And there is probably someone that looks like you doing something that you could get really psyched to do for a living. And whether you're researching sharks or makeup or sports, like there's something for everybody. And one of you listening today might cure cancer because you got excited when you watched the show. So we just want an opportunity to show more girls how awesome STEM careers are, and just that there's something for everybody. So we were excited to create the show in partnership with everybody on today. Madeline?
Yeah, so when Nicole and her team told us that they were going to get involved with the show, we all just raised our hands and said, we'd love to be involved because it's a great way to extend not only our partnership with Nicole and Lyda Hill Philanthropies, but also to be able to inspire and see this type of content that's out there. So it wasn't even an ask. It was like, okay, when do we show up? So it was really exciting for us.
Yes, love this show so much and what it's doing. This is a question that's come from a few people. They want to know, how can you use art and science, like theater or animation, to get into STEM? And this is for everyone or anyone who has an answer.
I could answer that one. I can actually think of a few careers off the top of my head that involve the arts and STEM. And I know the whole acronym for that is STEAM, but specifically with, like, let's say theater. So it's not just the actors and actresses on stage, performing the plays that we love so much. It's the light technicians behind it who, and there's actually a lot of math that goes into the way the light hits the angle of the light on the stage. So it lights up the person's face, or it can make them look like a villain if the shadow, comes down and it's cast on them from really high above. But that's one job. And then another one that I kind of think of would be engineering or an architect, because, that's art and that's also engineering and math in there, because when you design things, you can have a big, beautiful sculpture, but if it's, maybe too heavy because the hand's out here and it tips over and hurts somebody, that's, that's not good. So that's like a good way to coincide those kinds of jobs. But I always say that you can find STEM and STEAM all around you, your phone, your car, technology. When you cook, that's kind of a lot of math, because you're saying, oh, a half cup of this, 1/4 cup of this. But I say it's all around us, it's all encompassing, it's everywhere.
And Lisa, can I jump in too? I mean, if people are interested in learning more about careers that are more, that include art and science, if you go to ifencollection.org, you can meet Tamlin, one of our amazing IFEN ambassadors, who actually creates sets for, the Grammys and things like that. You can meet somebody who works for Spotify, right? Who spends her time, she's an engineer, but she works for Spotify doing music. So there's so many ways that you can combine art and science. And so there's just so many opportunities.
I agree with all of that. And Jackie, you hit the nail on the head. There are so many different kinds of engineering jobs that definitely incorporate the arts. I work in data science, and even though my background's in systems engineering, I do often work on the computer. I'm a coder, but one of the things that you get to do is create data visualizations. And essentially that's a fancy word for really cool, amazing pieces of artwork that can tell a story about information. That's one small way that you can use art in your day-to-day job as an engineer.
Yeah, can I jump in as well? So I'm a particle physicist, and when people hear physicist, they think all I do is something super, super technical, which to a certain extent that is true. But I study things that people can't see. I study the really, really small building blocks of the whole universe. So we use, data visualizations. We use pictures called Feynman diagrams to actually explain what we can't see, to explain the math and the theory that we're studying, or the physics that we're trying to discover. So we use art all of the time. When I'm trying to communicate, the tiny little particles that nobody can see, that I spend all of my time trying to find, I use art in my, presentations. I use art to communicate, all of this amazing unknown that we're trying to discover.
Oh, unfortunately, Anne, I don't think that we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about Jessica's piece that we saw earlier, where she was talking about the physics that goes into makeup. And makeup, we all know, is a fabulous art and profession and career, and its entire basis is in chemistry and physics and science. So everywhere you look, film and television, I make film and television for a living. And if the camera hadn't been invented by scientists and mechanics, I wouldn't even be able to have that to work in. So it really is, it really just is everywhere.
Yeah, that's a great point. You use science pretty much every day, even when you don't realize it, using your cell phone or anything. So another question that a few people have asked as well is, what is anyone's advice in getting into STEM and also sort of having to deal with certain barriers that you might face as a woman in STEM?
I can jump in here. I think there's no one right way to get started in STEM. And as someone who's worked in the industry for a little while, I've seen so many diverse backgrounds. Some people who have gone to college or a university to study a STEM subject, to people who never went to school, to a secondary school after high school and studied, but may have studied on their own, maybe have learned a skill on their own, to people who maybe studied psychology or a liberal arts major, and then they completely realized that that's not what they wanted to do, but they wanted to jump into STEM. There's no one right way to go into science, technology, engineering, or math. So don't think that you have to be limited to anything. The second part of your question, Lisa, was about diversity?
If you face certain barriers or maybe people, telling you that you can't do STEM, how do you sort of deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to the George Washington University in DC, which it's a small school, and I definitely did have to navigate a lot of challenges that I didn't necessarily think that they would be an issue, and it was difficult. I definitely had to navigate being a woman in classrooms full of a bunch of guys. Sometimes I did feel that my opinions or my contributions were overlooked and undervalued, even if someone offered the same idea and it just came from a guy. And on top of that, I have big curly hair, I'm a woman of color, and I felt that I stood out like a sore thumb. I felt like I was different. But I think that I knew what I wanted to do, and I had to find my confidence, and it was a journey. So if it takes some time for you, don't think that you're alone, because I've been there, and I'm sure some of these other ladies on this panel have been there too. But I think that with every challenge, it makes you realize why you're pursuing the thing that you want to pursue in the first place. And so with that, I think there's always a way to move forward, but don't be deterred. But along the way, there will be some challenges, because again, you're probably going to be a leader, being that you are a woman in a male-dominated field. So don't let it deter you, and I'd say keep going and keep striving.
Yeah, that was amazing, Fig. And a lot of the things that you said, it resonated with me as well. Being a Black woman, a Black Mexican woman, I was the only in a lot of my classes, in a lot of my pathway towards becoming a particle physicist. Actually, there is only about 100 or so Black women with a PhD in physics. So even me just being here, I've broken the glass ceiling, right? So that's really motivational for me to keep going, because I've essentially created a path for other people that look like me to follow suit. But one thing I do want to underscore that Fig said was that there were barriers and that there are going to be barriers. Unfortunately, especially in my field, it was built and created by white men. So they didn't even have the thought that somebody like me would be in these halls, that somebody like me would be doing science in the lab. So there's a lot of re-envisioning that needs to happen. There's a lot of changes that need to happen. And unfortunately, because we're the first, those are going to be, challenges that we're going to have to come up against and change. But language is really important. Knowing that you're not the only one that has gone through this, that you know, people feel a sense of imposter syndrome in these spaces, and having a term that kind of explains that has really, really helped me not feel so isolated and not feel so alone. The fact that there are so many other people that look like me in this field, in STEM, that are going through the same thing creates a sense of community and power that we can do this, that you can do this. So that's why I am so honored and humbled to be part of the AAAS If Then ambassadorship, because I know how important it is to have somebody that looks like you, that looks like me, ahead to forge the path to follow. It's amazing to be a part of this group.
That was so inspirational. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Jessica. And I did in the chat a little while ago, you might just scroll up a little bit, tag everybody on their social so you can go follow them if you want to learn more. And Nicole also mentioned the If Then collection, which is a great place to find videos and clips, like she mentioned, of women like Jessica. And if you want to follow the If Then social, they also do daily posts about how you can get involved in STEM and learn more about these really incredible women. So I want to ask one for Miranda that we've gotten in. Miranda, after being part of Mission Unstoppable, what type of STEM job do you think that you would choose to be in, or what's something really awesome about STEM you've learned?
Well, hearing about what Jessica does sounds really cool. I think that could be fun. I'm not great at applying makeup, but I think that sounds like it could be a really cool, interesting job. I also, just from being on the show, I've heard so many different like people's jobs and different things that I never even knew existed under, you know, the STEM umbrella. So like this season, we actually did a segment on juvenile great white sharks and why they are actually like at certain beaches. And I thought that seemed really fun because I love the beach, love the ocean. I love the idea of like seeing a great white shark. I've never seen one before in person, but I just thought that seemed really fun. And it shows them going off and actually tagging the sharks and the whole process of how they do their job. So that was really exciting to me. And yeah, honestly, it's like a never ending amount of inspiring people on the show and cool jobs and things I never even knew existed.
Absolutely. Every episode is packed full of inspirational women and different jobs that you can pursue. This one, let's see here. This one's for Anna. I love Mission Unstoppable. Are there any stories you can share that stand out to you as far as the impact of the show goes? Have you heard stories from fans?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, recently as on one of our Zooms, you know, with family friends from back home in Long Beach, and we were all just what we're doing, you know, working on, and 3 of the girls on the Zoom with everybody were just so excited about Mission Unstoppable. They had any questions about it. And that is just incredibly exciting. And they actually were following us on TikTok because we're putting out so much content on TikTok and it's going so well. Just love it, about experiments and how to do it and how much fun it is. And yeah, so I really have heard just from a lot of people word of mouth like that. And then somebody told me the other day, it's appointment television. Every Saturday morning, watch Mission Unstoppable. And I'm like, that's so rare these days that people tune in and something is actually on. So we just really are having an impact out there. And it just keeps getting, I'm surprised like every month how much more getting about how great the show is. So we just want to keep doing it.
Absolutely. So a lot of people want to know what advice you all have for getting involved in STEM. I know we've given a few examples, but are there any groups you can recommend maybe as a good starting point? And this is open to everyone.
So I have a couple of groups that I know of at the college level. One of them, and obviously I'm biased because I'm a physicist, but one of them is the Society of Physics Students. And it's a really cool one because you get to go to conferences and learn about different subfields of physics, and you get to meet other people that are really interested in physics. And then there's also like, specific affinity groups that encompass not only your love for STEM, but also, you know, Black people and Mexican people and women. So there's a whole bunch of different types of groups that kind of encompass all of who you are and all of what you enjoy. And the first part of that was any advice. My advice would be to just be a little bit stubborn. Don't let people tell you that you can't do whatever you want to do. And my response was always like, just wait. Just wait, you're gonna see that I'm gonna do what you thought I couldn't do. Yeah, a little bit of stubbornness is always good for this field.
I mean, the other thing I would add is for those of you who are in middle school, high school, college, I mean, the other thing is take every class that you can that's offered. I think one of the things is you might be interested in STEM, but you sort of don't know what direction you want to go. So I think engaging in taking, looking at your course catalogs, looking at your opportunities, and making sure that you're kind of absorbing everything you can. And that's an opportunity to connect with other people who are interested in the same things you are too. And so, I mean, there's no greater way, right, to be on a team while you're doing an experiment and ask questions, right? Ask questions to the people in your classes, ask them, what they're involved in. There's lots of robotics groups too. They're US First, BEST, those are the kinds of groups too that are, I think, a great thing that you can also get engaged with. And again, you get to be part of a team, you get to solve problems. And even if that's not necessarily the direction you're going to go, I think you're sort of continuing to expand your mind. And, so much of science is about problem solving, right? And those kinds of groups, give you huge opportunities to kind of take on big problems and think about being part of a team and solving them. So that's the other advice I have is just, as you're growing up and you're interested in these things, take in everything you can while you're kind of trying to find your way. You also don't have to know immediately. Some of you will see something and find a passion immediately. And some of you just know, gosh, I like all these different STEM fields. So enjoy the journey as you go as well, and just try to accumulate knowledge as you try to find something that you want to focus on.
I used to be a high school teacher, and one of the things that I noticed kids doing, and I actually was an English teacher, so I started a Shakespeare group, but it was because a student came to me and said, "Hey, can we have a Shakespeare club?" And I was like, "Sure." And it just started with, 5 or 6 people. And we started this group. For lots of groups like that at the school. There was a physics group that they met once a week with the teacher. And if you ask your teacher to, form a group like this, you have a few kids that are interested, they will probably be more than willing to do it. We actually have a story coming up on Mission Unstoppable about a robotics teacher who now has a national robotics team that has won like 6 years in a row or something like that. And she started that because some kids came to her and said, "I want to learn more about robotics," and they started a team. So you can start with a very small group just at your school, and it's a good way to build a group.
I think that's a great point. I have 2 suggestions. The first being find mentors or people that inspire you, that can assist you and maybe give you suggestions on how to move forward. I mentor quite a few younger people through a program called NASA Space Apps Challenge, which is an innovation incubator. It's essentially a hackathon, but it's so much more than that. And it's a way to bring people together that have a variety of backgrounds. Most of these people are already working in the STEM industry in their professional lives. But every now and again, we have high school students that are really interested in joining in, and they get to learn a lot, and they get to be paired up with mentors and work on awesome projects. I think one of my mentees is in this chat right now. Hi, Sophia. But I think that finding a mentor is super important. And two, like you said, Anna, finding groups and participating to build out innovation, because that's really where you find your niche. Most engineers, scientists, technologists, people that work in STEM work in groups. So that's a whole different skill that you have to work on. So I'd say if you have an opportunity to work with other people, whether it's an innovation incubator, a hackathon, some sort of group where you can all contribute a wide variety of skills to a project, you're going to learn so much more than if you're just sitting behind and sitting at a desk and listening to your teachers. So find those opportunities where you have a chance, because you're really going to, one, learn about working in a group, and two, you'll also have a project at the end that you can show other people, you know, what you created and what you did.
I just wanted to emphasize the point that was previously made about taking the initiative to start your own group, your own program, your own organization, or whatever it may be. If you have an interest in, you know, whether you're in middle school, high school, college, if you have an interest and there's not a club or organization that you can go to and be a part of. I don't know if you guys know, but I started my program, the Wilmington Urban STEM Initiative, when I was just 12 years old. And I don't think that, you know, passion or, you know, the want to help and teach others has any kind of age limit or age minimum. I was just 12 and I had this idea and this want to teach other people. It didn't matter that I, you know, could barely reach, you know, 4 feet tall. I was little, I was young, but I had this love of STEM and this passion for teaching others. So if you don't have the, you know, resources to go and be a part of something, make something, because other people will want to join. They might just not have the same kind of, they might just be shy, you know, but if you can have that program, more people will definitely come and be a part of it, and you can grow a big network of connections. But yeah, definitely take the initiative to start your own group if you have to.
Awesome. So much good advice to take away from that. I think we have a couple more questions we can answer. This one's actually from Madeline. We were wondering, what advice do you have for content creators and people in media trying to create more women in STEM characters?
I think changing your purview. So one of the things that we learned from the amazing Nicole Small and Lyda Hill Philanthropies is, you know, how do you rethink what STEM in a lab is? So for example, Ray Wynn Grant is one of the ambassadors that Nicole and Lyda Hill Philanthropies support, and she's a large carnivore expert. You know, there's another wonderful scientist, Jess Cramp, and she tags sharks in the Cook Islands. Look at what Fig is doing. Look at what Jackie's doing. Look at what Jessica's doing. So, you know, the traditional STEM character is the white lab coat with the glasses, you know, often some dark room. And guess what? You know, if you have the ocean, you can have a STEM character. You have the forest, you can have a STEM character. So it's everything that you do in a fictional world can introduce science. And so it's just rethinking you know, STEM and how it's been so stereotypical. And if you need further advice, come to us. We are glad to introduce you to these fabulous 100, you know, if then ambassadors who are really cool and doing outstanding things. And I am sure you will be inspired to do many shows if you were to just spend some time with them.
And Madeline, I'm going to plug for you guys too. You guys have an awesome website with some great research that we did a couple years ago. So there's really great content, no pun intended, for content creators on the CJane website. So there's also some great work that they've done that you can pull on as well.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have one more question we can answer, and this one has come in a few times from Saya. It's for Jackie. She wants to know, have you always wanted to be a STEM expert and be in the position you're in? By the way, you are all so in.
It's a great question. Thank you. So I wouldn't consider myself an expert by no means. I just turned 18. I'm a freshman in college, and I major in neuroscience. So not all of STEM, specifically the science part, but regarding the position that I'm in. And I consider this position one of being not just a mentor to the kids or the young girls that I help, but also a friend. You know, I consider myself someone, I'm not much older than them. I know I'm 18, but you know, I'm not super older than them. But I consider myself a mentor, both a mentor, teacher, and friend. And I say all those in one because I think that's important. If you're just a mentor and you don't have kind of that connection with that person, I don't think you'll have the same impact with them as if you know, ask them how their day is, ask them any struggles they're going through, or obstacles they want help overcoming. But the position that I'm in, I'm very grateful for because I know I'm having a real impact. I started my program at just 12. I just turned 18. So this is kind of my, you know, 6th year going on 7 years that I've had this program and this initiative and this idea. And so far I've impacted over 5,000 young girls. And that is not a small number. But the thing that I'm most proud of is when people will message me on Instagram. You can follow me at STEM Queen DE. But when people message me on Instagram, when people message me on Facebook, or even email me and say, you know what, my daughter had a great time at your STEM event. She wants to do all kinds of experiments. My house is a mess now. I don't love the messy house, but I love that she's excited about STEM and wants to, you know, get hands-on with it and have fun with it. So the position that I'm in, I'm very grateful because I know I'm having a real impact and imparting this kind of empowerment to these young girls that, you know, you can do this. I know that when you look up for role models and look up for mentors, you don't really find someone who looks like you. But when you get older and when you go into that career and become super successful, you can be that role model and mentor to a younger girl. And, you know, you can have that same kind of impart that knowledge, impart that empowerment, and let them know that they also can go into a STEM career. So I'm very grateful for the position that I have.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, our time together has come to a close. It went so quickly. I just want to thank Miranda and Nicole and Fig and Jessica and Jackie and Anna and all of you for spending your Saturday with us. So what's your homework for next week? You have to tune in to watch Mission Unstoppable, which is on CBS every Saturday morning. The time changes depending on where you are, but it's usually around 10 or 11 a.m. wherever you are. And also for all of our CJane members, we want you to write down on your calendar on February 23rd, we're going to be hosting another CJane Salon on Black women in Hollywood, and we'll have a new study to share with you. So stay tuned for that. And we just want to thank all of you so much for joining us today. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.